Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Swipe up 180, the show where I recap nothing. I talk about, no, that's not even, the show where I share my opinions on current events. That's what this show is. I go through 4 stories, 4 things, pieces of information that I want to share and talk about. And let's get it started. Let's just get into it. With this first story, I had to return my vehicle. Rideshare drivers are struggling to pay their bills amid rising gas prices. I've mentioned it before on this show and other shows. I used to be an Uber and a Lyft driver, drove, both of those as well as all the food delivery stuff, trying to make a living. And one thing I noticed, I drove for all those services for 2 to 3 years. One thing I noticed was the amount of money that those rideshare companies paid went down every year. It was harder and harder to make the same amount of money. And what happens as well is that your vehicle requires maintenance. And when you drive it a lot, requires exponentially more maintenance. And if you own an older car, things just start falling apart. So I struggled with not only just making enough to live on my very, very basic lifestyle, just trying to make enough to live on, but I was also trying to somehow pay for the constant maintenance I needed on my car. And when the pandemic happened and everything got shut down, thankfully I was able to collect unemployment, but it was also a sign that is something that I will never go back to. As far as making money, maybe if it's like a very much like a side job, you just want some extra money, but trying to do it full-time or part-time is a ridiculous idea. Just like, unless you have a newer car that is extremely reliable and gas efficient, it is not worth it whatsoever. And I can't imagine how much less the drivers are making today, considering the trend was making less doing those things. A lot less bonuses, a lot less benefits, a lot less, like, there used to be deals where you get like percentages off on maintenance stuff and like tires and all these kinds of things. All those things kind of went away gradually to where just everything became more expensive and you'd also make less. Meanwhile, the company's raking in all of their fees. They're just raking in and probably raising prices on the passenger side as well, where the drivers probably aren't seeing any of that. The companies they tried to pass a law stating that people that worked for these companies would be considered employees. But because these companies just pumped ridiculous amounts of money into their propaganda, trying to confuse voters into thinking it was a bad idea for people who get paid by companies to receive benefits, is ridiculous. So that didn't pass. One of the things that did not pass in this past presidential election. And that was right around, that happened right before the pandemic, really. Like the November before is when that didn't pass in California, but thankfully, despite the fact they're not considered employees, thankfully, because of the pandemic, at least drivers were able to collect unemployment if they weren't safe to drive. Because for sure, everybody that drove during the pandemic, if you decided to or didn't get approved for unemployment for whatever reason, because it wasn't an easy process, I'm sure people who drove would have gotten it multiple times by now. But yeah, as far as gas prices, no shit. It was becoming impossible under the pre-pandemic situation to make money doing that. It was getting less and less, like spending the same amount of time, driving the same amount of miles, working and getting paid less and less every year. And then you add on top of that just less people going out because the pandemic is still going on, and there's still a group of people that are working from home or just not willing to go out as much as they were. So business in general is going to be less. A lot of events get canceled a lot of the times, and those events bring a lot of opportunity for these drivers. But all of that, and then you add on the fact that gas is now $3 more a gallon. That just, I'm sure. And all these companies, they do the bare minimum to make it people think that they care about people. They don't care about people. They only care about profit. Like Uber and Lyft, these are app companies. They're not car companies. They don't give you your car. You use your own car. You're just using their app as a driver to get rides and process payments. That's it. They don't offer you anything else. And all of the money that they take is just for that app to run. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, of course, they're doing these, apparently, so let me read this. For rideshare drivers across the country, rising gas prices in recent months have pushed already precarious financial conditions towards a breaking point, leaving some to search for other jobs. Rideshare drivers operate under daily uncertainty over how much money they'll have coming in and whether it will be enough to cover basic necessities. As customer demand, traffic congestion, and gas prices oscillate, sometimes without warning. What cost me, quote unquote, what cost me $60 last week is now costing me $90 this week, said Ben Valdez, who drives for Uber and Lyft in Los Angeles, where per gallon rates reached $5.89 in March. Uber and Lyft started temporary surcharges to help drivers balance the extra charge, but drivers have characterized the actions as insufficient. Basically, what Uber and Lyft did is they didn't pay drivers more. They just charged riders more, which pisses the riders off, right? Makes them unhappy at the company, and then a representative of that company as a driver picks them up. So they're probably also getting low ratings from customers, low tips from customers, and just overall customers with bad attitudes because now they're being charged. That extra cost is being passed on to them. Meanwhile, I'm sure Uber and Lyft, their profits have only increased. Right? Uber and Lyft are not paying drivers more. Uber and Lyft just forced the price hike, and I'm sure they take a slice out of it. Whatever these quote-unquote surcharges are. I would not be surprised if Uber and Lyft take a percentage out of this surcharge that they charge the customer, but they're just passing it on to the customer. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about the drivers. There's always going to be drivers. They'll lure new drivers in with some like wording of some bonus that seems like really cool, but if you break it down, it's pretty pointless. Turnover rates of those gig jobs are ridiculous. I'm sure. It's very rare for people to stick around because the longer you do it, the more you realize these companies just pay you less and less. And just remove any benefits, all of the things. Like if you were driving with Uber like a decade ago, you're making so much money. You were actually making really good money. Not really good. You're making good money. And they gave you good benefits and bonuses and things like that. And if you hit this goal, you get this thing. And then they just slowly, over the years, just strip that stuff away. I don't know if Uber was around 10 years ago, but whenever they like the early years of Uber, when they were trying to make the business popular and trying to make it seem like a cool thing to do to make money. But yeah, I'm not at all surprised that, like, I mean, that's just what's going to happen. If it's not a viable way for people to make money, then they're not going to do it. Only the most desperate people are going to do it, and it's going to be for a short amount of time, and you're going to see instances of, like, crazy shit happening. Because when you have desperate people trying to make money, they're looking for every scam in the book to try and take advantage of somebody. So if they're not going to be paid a good amount to be driving people, then they're using that as a reason to add extra things to potential scams that they're doing. So if this continues, gas prices, if these Uber and Lyft companies just keep paying less and less, eventually it's going to go bad. And it's gonna fail. There's going to be a tipping point where the customer perception of Uber and Lyft is going to be never drive with those companies. It's bad drivers. They're always trying to scam you. They charge like crazy, but then, like, nobody gets paid except for the CEOs and VPs of those companies. So it's profit over people always.
The Many Faces is an ongoing abstract ink portrait series that I started many years ago. I release a new face every day, but go to inspireddisorder.com to check them out. So many available. But as a listener to The Ray Taylor Show, you can save 10% when you use coupon code INSPIRED when you check out. So go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF, that stands for The Many Faces. Go check them out, browse the entire collection, and when you decide on a piece, or maybe multiple pieces, make sure you use coupon code INSPIRED when you check out, and you'll save 10%. As a big thank you for checking out my work, for collecting my work, and for listening to The Ray Taylor Show. And with that said, let's get back to the show.
Let's move on to something that I would love. A birth control 99% effective in male mice headed to human trials. So it's the thing that, people have said that there should be. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a male version of the pill? It's like, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Because I know women, there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to be on the pill. It does fuck with your hormones. It fucks with you in a lot of different ways. And it kind of messes up your body's natural cycle of things. And for all of those reasons, there's a lot of reasons why somebody might not want to take birth control. And there's different kinds of birth control. You get the shot versus the pill or whatever. But I get it. As a dude, especially if it was like if I was back in my 20s, let's say. Or, I've never really slept with a lot of people. And it's never really been, it's generally the most sex I have is when I'm in a relationship. And then when I'm not in a relationship, I'm really just not having sex. I'm very bad at the one night stand stuff. I'm not good with the casual friends with benefits. Doesn't always work out for me. But I've tried. I've lived a life. I've attempted these things. It's just I know who I am. And I'm not going to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I'm not going to pretend to be comfortable with the thing that I'm not comfortable with. I've tried to get comfortable with. It's fine. It's like I understand who I am. But if I was in a different place in my life, 100% I would be using that. 100% I would be using that. Just ridiculous. Just because, like, sometimes you don't know. It's hard to, especially if, like, you're just meeting somebody, if you're doing the casual thing or whatever, right? And you meet somebody and you don't really know them very well, but you want to hook up. It's like there's a lot of like having a kid with that person would like not be a good thing. And for that ability to be out of my control as a dude, aside from putting on a condom, which, you know, obviously there's that, but we all know condoms suck. They just don't feel good. It is like the worst way to have sex is with a condom. I'm sorry. Condom technology has gotten better over the years. But, you know, it's if you want to experience the thing in its natural state, but without the consequences of a human being being created, 100%. Give me the pill. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, even still, I would have, like, if this thing gets passed, right, and there's a pill that you can take, I would, like, I don't know how the pill would work. I don't know if you have to take it like women take the birth control pill, like I have to take it daily, or if it's a thing where, like, you know, I take a pill and it shuts my shit down. Like, it doesn't produce, I don't produce sperm after taking this pill for, like, you know, I take it for a week. Whatever it is, if I could plan it out, I would have it on hand. So that if I do want to start dating somebody, it's like, oh, there's this extra layer of protection, by the way. So, yeah, I'd totally be down for that. 100%. Obviously, it's not going to do anything to get rid of sexually transmitted diseases. But the worst sexually transmitted disease is having a kid, in my opinion. It is a problem that will last your entire life. And my experience for everybody that I've seen who has kids, despite the kids being nice and cool, and like I see how, like, that would be the worst thing to have in my life. Like, I have zero desire to have any kids. Like, I do not want to put that much time and energy into anything that could potentially turn out to be horrible. Like, it's not something I have any desire to put energy into. So I would be eating these like Skittles for sure. Let's move on to the hilarious, the ridiculousness of the fact that there's that MAGA trucker convoy, the Freedom Convoy, or whatever they called themselves, like protesting mask mandates, and then like the mask mandates in the country kind of went away right around the time they were doing it. It's basically like a right-wing, like, reason to act like you're protesting a thing. I don't know how they afford it's during the highest gas prices. You have all these semis driving across the country, not working. Like, I don't know who's paying for all the gas for all these semis. But in D.C., they were stopped. Not stopped. I mean, there were some stopped and like, I think got tickets for certain things. But their tour around D.C. was halted or at least slowed down by a cyclist, a dude on a bicycle just riding in front of them, slowing them way down, which I appreciate. It's like on a very micro level, the United States version of that guy standing in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square. Like that, it's that kind of vibe, but like hipstery American version of it, which I'm here for. I'm here for any kind of pushback to these conservative rallies and stuff that are just I don't know. It's a way for really sad, stupid people to get together and feel good about themselves and spread all their crazy theories. But yeah, good for that cyclist. A lot of fun. Should I read this whole thing? Despite being stalled by a single cyclist that this weekend, the quote-unquote People's Convoy of aggrieved drivers continues to roll around the United States Capitol. On Saturday morning, video of a cyclist bringing the anti-vaccine mandate convoy to a grinding halt spread widely after being posted by the Daily Beast, Zachary Petrizzo. The video shows a lone cyclist biking at a leisurely pace down the road where it was difficult for vehicles to pass, with a lengthy line of truckers stretched far behind him. A live streamer filmed the incident, pulls up beside the cyclist, his head, a bike with a green basket on the front. Oh, his steed. Man, I'm bad at reading. And asks him what he's doing. Anyway, I don't want to read that whole thing. I'm bad at reading. I'm sorry, people. I shouldn't have done that to you. Let's move on, though. Good for that guy. I'm all for protest, free speech. Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're constantly trying to do that. Some states are trying to pass a bill to make it illegal to film the cops. Right? They really want to make it easier to cover up cops murdering people in those states. But freedom of speech, protests, yeah, sure, go protest. I just don't know what they're protesting anymore. I mean, the crowds are small. It's not a very popular protest. They're literally wasting gas, just polluting. Like they're in probably the most comfortable vehicles to just drive around. It's the laziest protest. Like you're sitting on something as comfortable as a couch, driving around Washington, D.C. Because of what? Because Trump is still president. Trump's still running the United States. Then who are you protesting? I don't get these people. Anyway, let's move on. They're just mad in my comments. That's all they do. Is drive around and get mad in my comments.
Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today.
But let's move on. These smart glasses want to replace your laptop. This is going to happen. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. As far as augmented reality goes, as far as how we interface with our technology, all of that is changing. Screens will not be a thing. Screens will be an illusion that you see. That is what they're going to be. Whether you get the Elon Musk chip in your head and you're just seeing them, just like it's the information's being sent to your visual cortex, and you're seeing it, just visualizing it without a device on the front end, or you're looking through glasses that have the augmented reality, or you get a contact lens. However that technology is, whether it's in front of the eye or behind the eye, it's going to happen. And I'm kind of stoked for it. What it would bring to life to have an augmented reality that's connected to everything would be very interesting, would completely change life as we know it for most people. I mean, there's going to be people that will never do anything with that. And then there's going to be people that are in it to win it, that are in it 100%. And depending on where you live, like if you live in a city, it's going to be far more useful than if you're in some rural place. I mean, there's obviously, just as technology is now, you're going to see a lot more of it where there's a lot more people. But yeah, I love technology. I love seeing where it's going. It's super interesting. I mean, people go crazy about the Elon Musk chip thing, but like, it's going to happen. Every new technology, people freak out. Everything. Books. When people started writing books, it was a technology that made people freak out. Taking pictures, recording voice, freak out. There's always, every new technology, people freak the fuck out. This is going to be the end of civilization. And, you know, yes, the civilization's going to end. And it might end before these glasses get to a place where the technology is really fun and cool. And it's just like, it's just everyday stuff. But if you think that the way society's going is somehow not going in that direction, unless we're all living in a post-apocalyptic reality, that is where it's going. Go watch some Black Mirror. Those are definitely scary outcomes involving the technology, future technology, but all that technology is coming. You can't stop it. Nobody can stop it. Progress is something that just happens. There's just too many people trying to make cool new shit. And, you know, just hopefully it's just what that stuff is used for. It's like technology doesn't make you evil. Evil people can sometimes use technology, right? It's the same thing with weed. Weed doesn't make you lazy. Just a lot of lazy people like to smoke weed. So, yeah, a lot of people are going to freak out about this technology. And, you know, I mean, I can understand the fear of what that's going to bring, how that's going to change things, and make us rely and really plug us into these companies that profit off of us. I mean, just like in the Matrix, instead of humans becoming batteries, we're money generators. We are the product that is sold by these companies like Google and Facebook and Twitter and, you know, everything. We are the product. But I'm still stoked for this. Like, yeah, if I could stop having to look at screens, like if I could just watch a movie, if I could just have a giant screen, right, and perfect audio, and it's just there, and I don't have to have a physical TV, like that would change rooms. That would change. I could just like watch something if I'm like in like a place where I'm around a bunch of people I don't want to be. Like I can just put a movie on and not see them. Like it's going to be a weird reality. But I'm excited for it if I'm alive whenever it happens. But yeah, smart glasses replace your laptop. Yes, this is 100% going to happen. Apple's working on it, Google's working on it, Microsoft's working on it, Facebook's working on it. Whether it's augmented reality, virtual reality, you got Tesla working on it with chips. Like all of those things are the same. They're just coming at it from different angles, right? The chip thing is probably going to be the most efficient than having to put shit on your face. Because that's the one thing. I don't mind wearing glasses. I normally wear glasses, but like heavy, bulky glasses or having to put glasses on top of glasses, that's not my shit, man. Not at all. But yeah, this is definitely going to happen. Definitely going to happen. I don't know how early of an adopter I will be. I don't have any virtual reality stuff yet. I've definitely been tempted looking at the Oculus Rift that's like $300 or whatever, kind of an entry-level VR thing. It's like I've been interested, but not at a level to where it's like, I gotta get that. So I can wait on it. We'll see what happens. But I'm not going to be, unless I got a ton of money, then yeah. If I had the money, like to be an early adopter, you have to have a lot of money that you don't give a fuck about. You're just like, I'll just throw that money on this brand new device that's unproven that will be exponentially better in the newest version that will come out in a year, but I got to see what it's like. If I had that option, then yeah, I guess I'd be more of an early adopter. But since I'm broke as fuck, I can wait. Anyway, let's do some shout-outs and get out of here, shall we? Shout out to BuzzFeed News. Shout out to Now This News. Shout out Vice News. And shout out Wired. But most importantly, shout out to you.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.